and please let us know. I just want see that suppose if you are finding any issue in filing the TDS returns, please let us know. We are here to resolve that one. Okay, there was the issue of failure in this thing that we sorted out through JK because they were doing the payment through NASH, which RBI didn't accept that one. So we have now made it clear. Now JK is doing through the NEFT or RTGS. So I think there is a what I got from last 1 or 2 months ka this thing. Most of the DDOs they are giving the this thing that most of the transferable जो file returns है, is all successful. Okay, even if you find any issues or this thing, please let us know. We will correct it, we will amend it, or we will take up the issue with the concerned authorities. Okay. Thank you so much.
Sir, my one suggestion is that some of the shopkeepers or suppliers are having composite GST. In that case, how we can deduct it? Tax?
I think we would take the question answer session after completing this discussion. I have noted your question.
Composite GST.
Also, please raise your questions. Okay, this is a workshop. This should be a dialogue. This thing that whatever doubts, whatever you have, okay, please free to ask that one. Get clarified. Okay, from your DDO level side or from your GST side, but whatever this thing, seller point of view, whatever.
Thank you very much, sir. Each and every officer might have noted the instructions given from the Director of Finance. So, first of all, I would like to let you know that what is GST. The name itself signifies that goods and services tax. It simply says indirect tax. We have two types of tax. Normally, one is direct tax and another is indirect tax. Direct tax, normally we know that direct tax is income tax. Each and everybody knows that income tax is direct tax. But I think we Ladakhis are fortunate enough that we are not required to pay income tax presently. But so far as goods and services tax is concerned, each and everybody is supposed to pay that GST. Whether it is a limited company or a private vendor or maybe a very small dealer or even a consumer, each and everybody is supposed to pay GST. So, what is GST? It is actually the indirect tax that is levied on supply of goods or services. But this GST does not include supply of alcohol for human consumption and petroleum products. Similarly, in GST, there are turnovers up to which the dealers are exempted from getting registered with the department and paying the tax also. Like if anybody who supplies up to an amount of 20 lakhs in a year, once we call about aggregate turnover, it means it is pen based all over India based. So because we know that we have only single pen, each and everybody has a single pen, nobody has 2 or 3 pens, but we have single pen, and when we talk about aggregate turnover, it means that aggregate turnover is calculated on all India basis on a single pen. And for goods, it is 40 lakhs. For GST registration, PAN is compulsory. So far as DDOs are concerned, PAN is compulsory.
What about services?
Services, I have told that 20 lakhs is the threshold limit. If you are providing any services, simply service, you are providing simply service. That it means that you are exempted up to 20 lakhs from getting registered under the GST department and paying the taxes. But it doesn't mean that if you are getting voluntarily registered with the department, you are supposed to pay the tax at that time. There is no exemption for any person who is providing services or supplying goods if he is already registered with the department. He is supposed to pay the tax, he is supposed to collect the tax, and he is supposed to pay the tax also. Under GST, we have 3 different sorts of tax, but actually these are not different from each other, but it depends upon the type of transaction. Say for example, if somebody is purchasing a good from outside the Union Territory of Ladakh, then the seller will charge him IGST. applicable amount of tax rate will be either 18%, 12%, depending upon the goods or services. If the supplier is registered within the territory of Ladakh, then he will be charging CGST and UTGST. Earlier we used to call it SGST because we were at that time part of Jammu and Kashmir state. Now we are a separate union territory and the union territory goods and services tax is applicable to us. Now who claims the taxes? Actually the CGST goes to the central government, SGST goes to the state government, and in case of UTGST it is one and the same thing because union territories are also governed by the central government. So the union territory tax also goes to the central government. In case IGST, it is being shared by the center and the state. Say if some goods attracts a tax rate of 18%, it means that 9% will go to the central government and 9% will go to the state government. So far as section 51 is concerned, each and every DDO should know that over which amount should DDO deduct the tax. I mean to say that section 51 says that you are supposed to deduct tax only when the supply is up to this more than 2.5 lakhs. Then what would be the definition for that amount? We call it taxable amount. Actually the taxable amount means that the amount over which the tax is being charged, not including the tax. Say for example, if a computer is sold for rupees 1 lakh and the tax rate is 18% and the supplier charges 18% over that 1 lakh, it means you are buying the computer from 1 lakh 18,000. In that case, 1 lakh is the taxable amount and 18,000 is the taxes, be it CGST, UTGST or IGST. Deductor, you yourself are the deductor. The person who is responsible for deducting the tax is called the deductor. And deductee means from whom you are deducting the tax. I am a supplier of goods. If I am a supplier of services, in both the cases I am termed as deductee because from my payment you are deducting the tax. These are the persons who are responsible for deducting tax. Department, establishment of state, central or government. I think every audience who are present here, they are covered under A part, most of them. Local authority, we have municipals, governmental agencies, or persons or category of person. It is not necessary that only these persons are responsible for deducting tax. Sometimes government may notify a particular category of person, these will be responsible for deducting tax. In that case, they will also automatically become responsible for tax deduction. Now the authorities, I already mentioned that in previous slide, who are the authorities that have been designated by the government as tax deducting authorities. Like any authority or any body or any organization that has been set up by the act of a parliament or legislature, or any society established by the government, or any public sector undertaking. Because we have Indian Oil Corporation also registered with us. We have NHPC also registered with us. They are public sector undertaking and they are also responsible for deducting tax. Because many of the contractors are also providing services to NHPC, and NHPC at the time of making payment, they do tax deduction. Now, what would be the rate of TDS? As I already told you that, even the directors are also told that once you are making the payment, you are supposed to deduct 2% of tax. But deduction under which head, it depends upon the type of transaction. Say if you are purchasing any goods or services from Jammu and Kashmir. Now Jammu and Kashmir is a separate union territory. The supplier in Jammu and Kashmir, he is supplying you, say, furnitures. At the time of making the payment, if the taxable amount is more than 2.5 lakhs, you are supposed to deduct 2% of IGST, Integrated Goods and Services Tax. IGST is levied in case when transaction is taking place between one state to another state, one UT to another UT, one UT to another state. In case of transaction that is taking place within the territory of Ladakh, since we are resident of Union Territory of Ladakh, we will be talking about Ladakh also. So, if any transaction that is taking place within the territory of Ladakh, that means in that case the supplier of services or the goods will be charging you SGST and UTGST. In that case, you are supposed to deduct 1% under SGST head, sorry, CGST head, and 1% under UTGST head. Value of supply on which the tax has to be deducted. As I already told you that Section 51 has clearly specified that you are supposed to deduct tax on the taxable supply. But taxable supply doesn't include the taxes which are charged by the supplier. So, as an example, I already told that if the computer is bought for 1 lakh rupees and tax is being charged 18,000, then 1 lakh will be the taxable amount. In that case, you are not supposed to deduct the tax because the value of the supply is 1 lakh rupees. But when I talk about the value of supply, I mean to say that value of the supply included in whole contract. Say for example, if the contract is being executed for an amount of 10 lakhs rupees, and let us consider the taxable amount be 9 lakh rupees. Then, at the time of making the payment, DDO found that he doesn't have that much of funds. He has only 1 lakh rupees of funds. Then, is the DDO responsible for deducting the tax while making 1 lakh rupees payment? Yes, because the value of the contract is 10 lakh rupees. You are supposed to see the value of the contract, not the value of the amount which you are paying to the deducting. Once you deduct the tax, that tax amount has to be paid to the government. But government has given you 10 days time. Say if in any month you are deducting the tax up to the month, last date of that month, say for example if you consider January as the month, you are making 3 to 4 payments to separate different contractors or different suppliers. At the end of the month, you found that you have deducted from 10 different, 4 or 5 different persons. In the next month, up to the 10th of next month, that means up to the 10th of February, you are supposed to file the return, pay the tax. Earlier it was necessary to issue the TDS. Now that has been exempted by the government. Earlier it was also a penal offence also, because if you are not issuing the TDS certificate. But now the issuance of TDS has been kept under silence. You are supposed to only file the return by the end of by the 10th of next month. Now an important question is each and every DDO competent enough to deduct the tax? क्या है देख? Only those DDOs who are registered. It means, first of all, government has said that while making payment more than 2.5 lakhs, DDO should deduct the tax. It means under GST, registration as a tax deductor has been made mandatory. It means because each and every department must be making any payment up to the limit of 2.5 lakhs. So each and every DDO is responsible for getting himself registered with the department. For registration, you need TAN or PAN. If the PAN is in the name of the department, you can also apply on the PAN also. These are some of the procedural compliances which the DDO should follow. First, he or she should get registered with the department. For that registration, TAN or PAN is mandatory, and there are certain other documents also, like the photograph of the drawing disbursing officer, PAN card of the drawing disbursing officer, and address proof of the office. These are the important information that has to be submitted on the common portal for getting registered. Now the second part is, while making the payment, you are supposed to deduct the tax. Deduction of the tax is also important. This also has to be complied. Number 2 is that when the TDS has been made, you are supposed to deposit the TDS within the stability time period. And for depositing doesn't mean that you are simply getting the amount transferred from the PFMS into the GST account. That has to be liquidated. That has to be paid into the RBI account. then you are supposed to file the GSTR 7. Now I have also mentioned here they need to issue a certificate in Form 7A. Earlier it was mandatory to issue GSTR 7A. Actually it was a TDS certificate. DDOs who were deducting tax in pre-GST era, they must be knowing that earlier they were issuing a certificate ST60 on which the taxable amount was also mentioned and amount of tax was also mentioned there and the treasury voucher number under which the amount has been deposited into the government treasury debt was also required to be mentioned. But now in GST it was earlier mandatory but it is not mandatory now. The DDO should also keep in mind that he should not make any payment without deduction. It means that up to the limit of 2,50,000, deduction is not necessary. But once the taxable amount is more than 2.5 lakhs, you are supposed to deduct the tax, provided the supply is taxable and the goods are also taxable. Next is if you are not deducting the tax, if you are making short deduction of tax, if you are deducting the tax and you are not making payment of that deductive tax into the government account, then you are liable to pay a penalty of minimum 20,000. Next, this I have already told you that total value of taxable supply unit is less than 2.5 lakh. Deduction is not necessary. If the contract value is more than 2.5 lakhs for both taxable value and exempted supplies, but the value of taxable amount is less than 2.5 lakhs. Say for example, if the social welfare department is purchasing rice up to 2.5 kg, 25 packets and 15, 10, 25, up to 25 they are taxable. Now that has been made taxable. More than 50. Normally we purchase 50 kg packet or that rice is exempted from tax. If social welfare department is floating a tender in which the value of rice, supply of rice is say for example 10 lakh rupees, and at the same time they are also saying that we need packaged milk which is taxable under GST. That the value of the packaged milk is less than 2.5. But the overall contract is more than 2.5 lakhs, then you are not supposed to deduct tax. It is not mandatory to deduct tax because the value of taxable supply is less than 2.5 lakhs. Another is services which are exempted. There are many services under this notification 1270. Various classification of services have been given in which many services have been exempted. Under this notification, you can find the services which are exempted from tax. If you are getting any exempted service, then it is not mandatory for the DDO to deduct tax. If the goods are exempted from payment from tax, DDO is not required to deduct tax. Say Chief Education Officer is purchasing textbooks because textbooks are exempted from tax. So if the value of contract is more than 2.5 lakhs, still he is not required to deduct tax because the goods are exempted from GST. Another is if the goods they are not covered under GST. I have already told you that there are certain goods like alcohol for human consumption, even petroleum products, they are exempted from tax. Say for example, our this Deputy Director Garages is purchasing say petrol or diesel. Even if the payment made to the contractor or the supplier is more than 2.5 lakhs, it is not necessary to deduct the tax because the petroleum products like crude petroleum, natural gas, ATF, even आपका जो diesel है, high speed diesel, these are exempt. These are not covered under GST. They have a separate taxation law, which we call MST Act, and these items are not governed by GST. So it is not necessary for you cannot deduct tax even because there is no GST on these items.
I have one question regarding this. If the same supplier supplies, say for, you said 2.50 lakhs is exempted from tax. If the same
No,
suppliers-
not exempted from tax. I have never used the term that 2.5 lakh is exempted from tax. I have said that up to the taxable value of 2.5 lakhs, it is not mandatory for the DDO to deduct tax, even if the goods are taxable.
Say for if one supplier submit 3 bills, one for 150, one another for 30,000, another for 40,000. Is it taxable or not?
What about the contract value?
Where it cross the
No,
this limit?
I have already mentioned that.
No, here what happens is that suppose you are making a part payment.
Part.
Okay, if it is a single contract but you are making a part payment, so you should go for a contract value. Okay, so
नहीं सर, ऐसा है सर, मैंने परचेज किया किसी दुकानदार से, सिर्फ वो 3 मतलब 3 बिल्स मिलाया मैंने बिल, वो एक्सीड हो रहा है, अब 3 बिल करके अब 2,50,000 से ऊपर हो गया,
नहीं जहाँ पे
वो टैक्सेबल है कि नहीं है?
नहीं जहाँ पे आप 3 बिल ये किए हैं 3 बार, so
Part payment हो रहा है।
whether that sanction जो आप परचेज करने के लिए जो सैंक्शन आपको मिला है, that you got a single sanction. अगर आपको सिंगल सैंक्शन मिला है for purchase of this thing, that would be because normally for everything you can't conclude a contract. As per GFF provision, there is a option is there that if your purchase goes more than this value, then you are supposed to conclude a contract. Otherwise, you can have a sanction and you can place a supply order. So if your supply order,
suppose to say if there is no sanction,
you are issuing a supply order.
yeah,
सप्लाई ऑर्डर में अगर वो तीनों आइटम्स एक ही सप्लाई ऑर्डर में कवर्ड है, then yours and that total value is crossing more than 2.5 this lakhs, then you are supposed to collect the TDS. Okay, and this is also applies when for outsourcing contracts. I think many departments यहाँ पे आप conclude कर रहे हैं outsourcing contract पे, right? तो